bird pooped on me.
We're recording.
Oh. Howdy doody.
Howdy doody.
Welcome back to the ranch. My name is Michael.
My name is Michael. This is my wife.
This is my wife.
Very nice, honey. This is my wife's 1958 Mercury Turnpike cruiser. We picked this up last year. I bought it for her birthday, and today is the day we get it running. So this here vehicle has not ran since, well, we're gonna say at minimum 1994. From what I know about it, that was the last time it was registered and sold. It was sold in the state of New Mexico in '94, which was the year I was born, and it was parked in long-term storage ever since. From what I was told from the guy that owned the shop where it was stored, he told me that it hadn't been on the road since it was brought back from New Mexico, and he would start it every once in a while to move it around the shop, but that was a long time ago. So we're thinking it probably hasn't ran for the last 10 to 15 years.
30 years ago.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about, but yeah, it's a long time for something like this to sit. So, pretty unique car. We're going to take a little wrap around here and go through some details about it, and then we're going to get to work on it, see if we can get it running today. So, on the outside, again, styling is just super cool. Double headlight was super popular in '58. Curved windshield, super cool, futuristic looking. Beautiful lines. You got that classic Mercury, you know, it's like a slant that way, slant that way. I just really like the shape of that roof. Moving to the back, you got that rear windshield that rolls down. This thing's a boat, super long. I mean, this is as long as my long bed crew cab back there. So really, really long vehicle. Shame we got a busted out taillight, but really, really cool looking car. This is what the taillight's supposed to look like, this bullet. Again, super Jetsons feel is how I like to describe it. Very, very cool rig. Do you agree? Yeah. So, yeah, little flip up Mercury logo for the key, for the trunk. A lot of trim missing on this, which is a shame, but we'll hunt it down. We'll get it eventually.
Welcome to my car.
MTV Cribs, welcome to her crib.
Anyways, this is the inside of my car. It has a bench seat. It has a cat that lives in it. It has this, which is my favorite part. It's the vent, but the vent comes from outside. Show him, Michael.
Right here.
Which I think is silly.
Yeah, very Jetsons-like. Pretty cool. Oh, it does have a cat in it. Is he living in here?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, pretty good condition. The top really hasn't been sagging, although there are some mouse shoes, which is unfortunate. But pretty good condition. The long-term goal is to restore the whole thing. But right now we're going to be starting with mechanical things first. So we'll make this a car that is up to spec with this little lady. But for now, we're gonna focus on just getting it running. Pretty cool. This era, 1958. They made this car for 2 years, 57 and 58. That was obviously you know, height of like Jetsons futuristic era. So everything is very futuristic. Since this car hasn't been on the road in a long time, everything's kind of, you know, it's just been sitting for so long that it's kind of falling apart. But there's 94,000 miles on it. I do believe that's original. I don't think it's rolled over. It'd be pretty impressive if it was 194. But yeah, really, really cool dash. I mean, I'm surprised on how like futuristic and cool this was for 58. This is when like the Eisenhower was putting together the whole Turnpike movement, hence Turnpike Cruiser, padded dash because there were no airbags. Yeah, obviously not so paddy anymore. All that foam is crumbling. But super cool features. The back window rolls down. You do have cruise control. It's a push button transmission. You have an automatic seat, all in 1958, so super, super cool. But with that, we're gonna leave it how it is, and let's move over to the hood, see what's under there.
Okay.
All right, go ahead and pop open the hood, see what we got in here. So, it's all there. We pulled the carburetor ahead of time to rebuild that. That's sitting somewhere over yonder. It's a Holley 4160, came standard with these. We already went and rebuilt that in a previous video. So if you haven't seen that, go ahead and click the info card box. Catch up. Standard in all these big boats were this big block V8 from Ford called the Marauder. It had two different displacements in the big block V8 formation after they were getting away from the Y block. But they also came out with a Super Marauder, which to my knowledge was the most powerful engine that came out of Detroit in 58. The first ever engine to break 400 horsepower out of the factory, I believe. Don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure that's fact. Maybe. So the Super Marauder came with two sets of 4-barrel carbs here, but it was the same block, just different displacement, and two sets of Holley carbs.
It's actually 3 sets of Holley 4,160 carburetors.
I will prevent World War III.
So the carb is already rebuilt and sitting off to the side, like I said, so we are going to check for spark. I already turned it over earlier when we bought it just to see if the engine was locked up, so I know it's not locked up. It does rotate. So we'll check for spark, get the carburetor all hooked up, see if the fuel pump's working. We got to check our gas tank situation. I'm sure that's all cruddy. Worst case scenario, we'll just do an auxiliary tank for now. But yeah, let's get to work and see if we can get this thing running. All right, we're gonna start with spark plugs and wires first. I can't remember if I bought spark plugs for it. I don't think I did, but we're gonna check the trunk, see if over the last few months I put anything back here. Fun little thing about this, look at this key. Morgan County Federal Savings, and I think that's Colorado. Yeah, Colorado. That's your trunk key. So go ahead and throw that in there. No? Aha. We got hubcaps. Forgot about that. Okay, so I got brake parts, hubcaps. Got our air cleaner up there. Look at that trunk. You could definitely
Fit 3 bodies in it.
That's sus. I was just gonna say one body.
Oh, no. It's my length. You could fit 3 of me in there. And that's on period.
Anyway, brake parts. No spare tire. Yeah, this is all brake stuff because I'm predicting the future. Call me Einstein, basically, is what I'm saying. So no spark plugs, which is fine. I think those spark plugs will probably be fine. We can clean them up and we'll be fine.
Fine. Hi, children.
But the plug wires are falling apart, so we got to replace those. Onward and upward.
Okay, so we're going to be switching out the spark plug wires. These are the spark plug wires. So we're changing them because they're all cracked and damaged and they're just icky looking. So we have to match them up. So we're going to take them off one by one, match them up to make sure it's the right length, and replace them.
Let's do it.
And fear's a big one. Like, cause you have all these emotions.
So last up is the coil wire, which attaches your coil to your distributor. This one's gonna stay because it's strange. It actually screws into the coil, which I've never seen before. This comes out and it looks like, man, I don't even know. It screws in right there. So typically you have a boot on one end and a boot on another, but let me know if you've seen that before. Obviously it's an older thing. I've never come across that before, so just being honest. So I'm gonna leave that one as is. I'm sure it's fine. We're gonna check for spark and then we'll move on to fuel. So actually I think I may have figured this out. The boot is just a coil thing. Yeah, and it just comes straight out. So this is pretty corroded down here. And I lost my little, I don't know what these are called, the little brass piece, copper piece. So I'm gonna slip this boot off of here and slip this boot off. Leave that there. Grab our other boot here. Get our boot on first. Whatever this little O-ring is for. Yeah, let me know if you know when this was like a common thing. Never come across it before. Slip this on the end. Try not breaking it. Clamp her down. Grab a set of pliers. These will work. Alright. Shove this guy back in. Get this stupid flexi hose out of the way. That's not stock. There we go. Alright. Around. Ooh, she is gonna be just long enough. There we go. Alright. Too short for comfort, but I'm gonna be okay with it. Okay, we are ready to throw a battery in this thing. See if we have spark. Battery box is not doing well. Lots of wire sitting in here, probably wrapping up the previous battery.
Oh my.
Here you go. Have the anti-theft option on here. Red wire goes to ground, and black wire goes to positive. And this is definitely not in good shape. Definitely got to replace this cable. But I don't have one, so we're just going to throw a battery in it and see what happens. I have. You can throw it away.
Oh.
It's garbage. Hopefully this doesn't fall all the way to the floor. No, that's fine. That's fine. Red is negative, which is backwards, but we're gonna run with it. Black is positive in this scenario. Get that on there. Ha
Michael.
Anyway, so this has been sitting a long time. So we are going to, obviously we have power draw somewhere, which is why it sparked. But we need to see if we got any smonking wires or anything, because there are a lot of old chafed wires on this, which we need to address. We're not going to address them today, but we will at some point. So for now, we're just on fire watch, just making sure that we don't burn this thing down. And I think we're okay. So I'm going to have you jump in the driver's seat, and we're going to see if this thing cranks over. It'd probably be a good idea to check for oil at this point in time, which I know I've done before, so yeah. A little over full. And it's because it smells like gas, so somebody was definitely trying to start this before. And if you're just cranking on it, and it's not starting, all that fuel that you're dumping down the carburetor just gets washed past everything else and works its way into the oil. So by a result of that, you get an overfull dipstick reading.
That you do.
But yeah, definitely smells like fuel. So once we do get this running, fingers crossed, we'll definitely have to do a full service on this. But for now, we're gonna check if we have spark. So we got dome lights back there, which is cool. Probably on both sides, yeah. Yep. Go ahead and put the key in. Turn it once. There's your power seat. So I'm not sure if that's like an automatic setting or if something's wired wrong. But what do you got on the dashboard there? What are the lights? There's two lights there.
Gen and oil.
Gen and oil. So we know those lights are working, so we'll watch for oil pressure after we start cranking it over. But for now, hi buddy. Excited to go for rides. All right, for now we're gonna pull a plug here. Throw our little hobo freight tester down there. Okay, a little bit of battery trouble, and I think we got it. So, key is turned. We're gonna keep an eye on this spark tester here. Go ahead, turn it over. You're kidding.
Okay.
Who's your friend? And your other friend? They're excited to take this thing on the road, so we better get moving here. All right, ready? Give her a whirl. You're joking. So I'm sure we got bad battery connections. That's something that we're gonna have to deal with. But for now, I just want to get it. Go ahead and turn it on and off again. Yeah, all right. Okay, cleaned up our battery connections. with some sandpaper. Let's see if we got spark. Go ahead. Nothing. Okay, so we have a no spark situation. So I'm gonna pop this cap off. Maybe. And I'm thinking I need to just ever so slightly turn the engine over. Okay, so now our points are closed. That's those right there. And those are looking very, very small.
That's what she said.
So we're gonna have to get in here and get a rebuild kit for this because those can definitely be replaced. However, for the time being, I gotta turn the key on. All right, key is on. We're just gonna stick a screwdriver in here. Yeah, I got no spark there. There it is, a little bit. So I think we just need to file it down a little bit because we definitely have power to it.
The
All right.
minute I get shocked by something.
You won't. We're gonna disconnect the battery. That's our negative. Remember, red is negative in this scenario.
But it isn't normally.
Yeah, it's usually black, but you could tell by the way it is
You can tell that it's an aspen tree because of the way it is.
that this cable goes down and it bolts onto the block there, so you know it's a ground. This one here comes over to a solenoid, so you know it's a positive lead because it's wired to stuff. So that's your positive, that's your negative. Okay, so in here, your points are down here, right here, yep. So what you want to do is get your file in between those little, let's pull this rotor off. Yep, right there. All right, so now bring your file down and just rub it back and forth. In and out. So, yeah, there you go. So we're sanding down the points is what we're doing.
It's falling.
Yep, get it back in there. Make sure you're nice and flat. Nice and flat. Okay, now in and out. Yep, just like that. How you feel?
Hot.
Hot and sweaty? Yeah, it's very humid, muggy today. That's probably good. All right, now we're gonna take our file, let me see it, and just kind of flick off the dust. Now, we'll reconnect our battery. All right, we're just gonna come back over here and check for spark again. Yep, see lots of spark. All right, why don't you go ahead and turn the engine over. Let's see if I got spark here. Wow, lots of spark. All right, so let's throw our cap back on. Just gonna grab right over here, hon. Where are you going? Okay. Oh, good call. I forgot about the rotor. Okay, so this actually could be sanded down too. Let's grab some sandpaper. Just get all of it. All right, so that's good. Blue streak, which I believe is, I don't know, is that O'Reilly's? All right, so let's get our cap back on. Grab that.
And I'm not going to electrocute myself.
No, its battery's disconnected. Good. Now we can. That side. Go ahead. Yep. All right. Now we can. Oh, here's another screwdriver. Duh. All right, we're gonna turn it over. Check for spark again.
Okay. Let's do it.
I said the battery was disconnected, and I forgot.
Ready.
Ready. No spark. All right, Elon, what did we do?
We did a lot of sanding. We sanded down the points and the cap. And more sanding. And now we're going to see if there's spark.
All right, so yeah, we're gonna just show you the spark now that we got, and then finally we'll move on to fuel, start getting the carburetor hooked back up. All right, so let's go ahead and turn her over. We're gonna look for spark down here. Hang on one second. All right, go ahead. All right. Tough to see with the sunlight. I'm not sure if you could see that or not, but we got it. Strong spark at this point. So what are we doing?
Hooking up the carburetor.
Moving on to fuel.
Moving on to fuel.
Moving on to fuel. All right, so at this point, we know a couple things. One, our starter is a good starter because we've really been whomping on that thing, and she's still going, nice and strong too. So the other thing that we know is I had my fuel line disconnected that whole time, and if that pump were good and we had fuel in the tank, it'd be spitting out fuel by this point in time. So we're gonna check the tank. Again, this thing's been sitting for a long time, so we're gonna check the tank, see what we see if we can see anything in there, and go from there. There should be a key. See if your key fits in there. Hope to God it fits in there. I don't know if it's going to.
Something smelly.
Okay, so here's the plan. I ended up getting this cap off. Couldn't find a key, so claw hammer worked just fine. I threw a bore scope down into the tank. I know it's empty just by knocking on it, but it is rough, like real bad rough. I was hoping to just throw some fuel down there and mix it in with whatever was left and see if the pump was going to work. And if it didn't, use a little clicky-clacky pump. But that is not going to work. So we're going to bypass this. I'm going to throw a auxiliary fuel tank. In other words, an old Cub Cadet tank. I'm going to put it right in line with the existing pump here. This is pretty old and brittle, so I'm going to snip this, get a new line here, run that to that tank, and then we'll turn the key, and hopefully we can pump fuel through that pump up to our point where the carb is. So we'll get to work on that and check back in and see how we're doing. All right, so we got our little makeshift fuel tank up here. I just got it pinched off, got an inline filter, and hopefully when I let this go and we crank the engine over, I'm gonna kind of fill it manually, and then we'll see if we start pumping fuel, and we're gonna be looking for fuel coming out of that port right there. So let's let this go, let that fill, and we're gonna turn the key. Hopefully we're pumping fuel. All right, ready? Go ahead, turn the key and press the button. All right, let go. Try again.
Baby's got a little gator. All right, you ready?
Yep.
Attempt number 1.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
That's too damn bad!
All right, go ahead, start cranking. She wants to go. All right, give it a couple pumps, gas pedal. Yep. Firm pumps, come on. Like you mean it. All right, go ahead, twist the key again. I'm sorry. Crank it over. Oh, stop. Sorry, I didn't explain. So as soon as it fires, even if it's not like running, take your hand off the button. Because the starter's still engaged at that point. All right, ready? Go ahead. She wants to go. All right, go ahead. All right, we gotta check if we have oil pressure. We got oil pressure, we're good. Good to go! See all your rust and spit out here? Yep, it's running good. All right, so at this point we don't have any coolant in it. I know it's dry, so I don't even know if that temp gauge works. Well, anyway, we're gonna get some water in it, see if we can start it up again and bring it up to temperature. She's a runner. All right, we got her topped off with only the finest City of Cleveland water. It didn't take much, so there must have been some antifreeze still in it, which is good. But we're gonna get it up to temperature, see if that thermostat opens and we start cooling, and then we'll try and throw some brake fluid in it. I don't think we're gonna have brakes, but we'll try, and then we'll just, putter it down the street for a little bit. So let's crank her over, see if she starts up again. Yep. Go ahead. We interrupt your show with our wildly regular segment, Who's That Dummy? So it should be quite obvious as to why my accelerator pump isn't working. Probably had something to do with the guy who rebuilt it, putting the accelerator pump on backwards. Lever's facing the correct way now, towards the linkage. Starts right up, sounds good. What are you trying to do? Oh, it goes up and down. Does it go back and forth?
I can't figure it out. Like, I would assume, but, there it is. You have to turn it.
Cool.
And I think that's like what it gets set to.
Yeah. I wouldn't go too crazy with it. Like, find a good setting and don't press it too much because I don't know how the wiring is. All right, I'm gonna see if she's charging. That would be nice if it is. $13.98. Why am I yelling? My microphone's right here. 13.98. 14. So she's charging good too. Hearing a little bit of noise, can't tell if that's just, old parts just need to be oiled up or if it's a problem. But I think we'll just keep an eye on it. Starting to warm up. You see the temperature gauge moving? See how it's over the T right now? All right, we're gonna let this thing warm up. Temperature gauge is starting to move, so I know it's at least working. I'll keep you posted when the thermostat opens. We start seeing some bubbles. So here's the deal. It runs. That's a yay. Bad news. And it runs pretty good. Bad news though, we have quite the leak here. And I was worried that it was engine oil, but getting down there it's actually coming from the transmission. And I checked the dipstick, it is bone dry. So whatever's in there is probably the last of it. It's probably been leaking for quite some time. So I don't think we're going to be driving this thing today. I was hoping to at least take it down the block, but I would say that would be a big ask for a transmission that doesn't have any fluid in it. So we'll count this as a win. It's running. That's a big success.
Great success.
But there will be a following video. We're going to have to do some maintenance on this, starting with the engine oil. Obviously that is over full and full of gas, so I'm sure the viscosity is not good. So we'll have to drain that, get a new filter, check out what's going on with that transmission, where it's leaking, but it's right where it butts up to the engine block, so that might be a project in itself. We'll probably have to drop it. Might be new gaskets and seals involved, but she runs, so hey, that's a win. So we'll leave it here. Obviously we got brake work to do too, because as it was running I popped the cap off of our master cylinder here. She's pretty gummed up. That's supposed to be fluid, not wax is what it looks like. Gross. So we're gonna have to dig into the brakes. We've got a lot of work to do on this, but she runs, so that's a plus. So we will unfortunately have to leave you here with no joyride. Bummer. Yeah, but at least it runs. Hey, we're happy about that. Dang, so I can't even... Looks like we're pushing it back into the garage space too. I was really hoping to, you know, shift her into gear and park it, but that's not happening. So, all right, well, with that, if you enjoyed the video, please do me a favor, subscribe to the channel. I got a lot of work to do on this. We're still working on that skid steer over there. Got plenty of other things to do, so lots of projects to be had. So subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it, all that fun stuff. And remember, don't be afraid to grab that wrench and get after it. We'll see you next time. Remember, don't be afraid to grab that wrench, get after it.